3 shocking rules I follow during my 3 a.m. gas station shift in Montana that haunt me forever. The clock strikes 3. The world is silent, but inside the gas station, the air is thick with tension. Shadows flicker under fluorescent lights, casting eerie shapes that dance across the aisles. This is when Jess works the shifts that make her heart race and her skin crawl. The rules she must follow are not just for safety, they're what keep her alive. Rule 1: Never turn your back on the door. The locals say this gas station has secrets, and what haunts those late-night shifts will chill you to the bone. It's not just the odd customers. There's a presence, a feeling like someone's always watching. She can't shake it. The dark corners of the store seem to breathe, and each time the bell rings as someone enters, her heart pounds like a drum. The sound is deafening in the stillness, echoing like a warning. Do you feel me? That tightness in your chest when something doesn't feel right? That's what Jess experiences every night. And then, there's the ghost on aisle 3. No kidding. An old man in a faded deer hunting jacket materializes from thin air, gripping a can of soda like it's a lifeline. He never pays. He just smiles, this crooked grin that sends chills through her bones. Once, he whispered, "You need to follow the rules, girl." She thought she was dreaming. The second rule is to keep an eye on the taillights. If they flicker in the lot after hours, it means the dark is about to spill through the door. The hairs on her neck stand up just remembering. She stands near the register, glancing sideways, expecting trouble. The fluorescent lights hum a dissonant tune, and the fluorescent glow makes everything feel unreal. What if tonight's the night? She murmurs to herself. What rules will she have to break just to get through? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. When the line of cars pulls away from the pump, she senses it. That cold breeze slips through the door. The hair on her arm prickles. Suddenly, there's only silence, a silence that screams. She swallows hard, her throat dry as she remembers the last time taillights flickered. She steadies her breath, eyeing the clock. 5 minutes until the next customer. Will it be him? Or something worse? The seconds crawl by, each tick of the clock amplifying the dread. The store feels tighter, suffocating almost. Jess glances at the door, half expecting it to burst open, a cyclone of chaos spilling in. She tries to calm herself, but now, it feels like the air is laced with electricity. Just then, a flicker catches her eye outside. A pair of taillights glow ominously, illuminating the parking lot in strange, haunting reds. They flicker again, then vanish. Panic grips her. This wasn't the sign she wanted. Rule 2 shatters her resolve. Something unspeakable is about to approach. She whispers under her breath, "Not tonight." She forces herself to breathe in deep, searching for an anchor in this storm. Her thoughts race back to the old man in the hunting jacket. She loves to hate him. "You need to follow the rules, girl," he had said. But what if the rules fail? The clock strikes 3 again. A bone-chilling shiver runs down her spine. The door swings open, the bell ringing with a jarring echo, and Jess's heart races as she whips around. It's just a kid, maybe 16, wearing a hoodie pulled tight against the chill of the night. He scuttles in, eyes darting nervously. It's the kind of look that screams trouble. "Hey, just filling up," he mutters, avoiding her gaze as he trots to the gas station's dark corner. She narrows her eyes, feeling uneasy. This isn't just a casual visit, he blends into the shadows like he's meant to be unseen. The old man's warning echoes through her mind. When he said the rules, did he mean all rules? Jess grips the counter harder, nails digging into the wood. This isn't right. She flicks on the register light, trying to dispel the darkness crowding the aisles. How can I help you? Her voice comes out steadier than she feels. Just some snacks, the boy mumbles, eyes still flicking to the entrance. Sure, she replies, forcing a smile, but she doesn't let her gaze wander far from him. He's hiding something, she can tell. The call of the night shifts her focus back to the door, the bell tinging with every gust. This kid's inputs could be one piece in a puzzle she'd rather not solve. Outside, the shadows stretch longer, seem to elongate like claws desperate to grasp at anything remotely resembling hope. The next flicker of taillights catches her attention again, the same car, the same flicker. This time, the headlights are dimmed, the body still. Jess's breaths grow shallow as the weight of panic presses against her chest. Ma'am? The boy's voice jerks her back to reality. Her eyes dart back to him. He stands stiff, a candy bar dangling from his fingers. There's a bead of sweat streaming down his brow. You okay? She asks, though it's more a trigger of instinct than concern. But he swallows hard, eyes wide. There's something outside. The moment he says it, her heart leaps into her throat. The door thumps against its frame, and she feels the air pressure shift, a heaviness pressing inwards. Jess knows she's too afraid to turn and find out she might not like what she sees. It's her third rule, after all, never acknowledge the shadows, or the things they hide. The door trembles again, and the broken, haunting sound that follows makes Jess's stomach twist into a knot. What waited for her on the other side? Before she can catch her breath, the boy steps back, his face drained of color. It's here. He gasps, with trembling hands. Jess forces herself to look towards the door, feeling as though the world is holding its breath. Just as she prepares to confront whatever darkness lurks outside, the lights flicker wildly, plunging her into a pitch-black moment that feels like an eternity, and then, a whisper drips into her ear, chilling her. You didn't follow the rules. She stiffens, dread creeping down her spine. Who was it? What did they want? Just beyond the door, a shadow looms. Jess's heart pounds louder than ever, drowning out everything else. Clenching her fists, she steels herself, forcing her gaze forward. An icy gust sweeps through the doorway, making the bell jingle like a warning. She can't move. The boy gasps, his eyes wide, brimming with terror that mirrors her own. Did you hear that? He whispers, voice trembling. The whisper lingers in her ear, thickening the silence around them. It pulls at her, tying knots in her stomach. She squeezes her eyes shut, trembling as the shadows shift, slinking closer. Just behind the door, the shadow stretches, black against black, as if it could slip inside at any moment. Stay behind me, she finally manages to utter, her voice steady even as her heart threatens to burst through her ribcage. The boy nods, stepping back as if the space could expand and shield him. Jess simultaneously wishes for the store's door to hold and for anyone to walk in. But deep down, she knows that if someone enters now, it might heighten the darkness outside. She pushes away from the counter, moving cautiously towards the door, each step feeling like a dare. Outside, the silence is deafening, her instinct screaming that whatever is lurking out there has its sights set on them. The flickering lights offer no comfort, instead amplifying the fear. With trembling hands, she grabs the baseball bat propped against the wall. It feels heavy, yet familiar, a shield against the unknown. As she turns back to the boy, he's watching her, face drained of color, sweat slicking his hair back against his forehead. What are you going to do? He asks, trepidation clear in his voice. I'll take a look, she says, even though she's terrified of what she might find. There are rules for a reason, and tonight feels like the culmination of every ominous word she's ever heard. Maybe it'll go away? he suggests, but his voice quakes with doubt. Maybe, she admits, though she knows all too well that whatever's out there won't just walk away. Inhaling deeply, she steels her resolve. On the count of 3, she says. The boy nods, eyes round and fearful. 1, 2, 3. She yanks the door open with a burst of adrenaline. The night air rushes in, cold and biting. The harsh neon lights illuminate the parking lot, revealing nothing, just the empty night cloaked in shadows. But something stirs in her gut, an unease that doesn't subside. What do you see? The boy whispers, edging forward. Nothing. It's empty. A flicker of movement catches her eye. Her breath hitches. Just at the edge of the lot, she can see the dark figure that has been silently observing, lurking in the light of the gas station. It stands unnaturally still, an exaggerated shape void of discernible features, drenched in darkness that seems to absorb every glimmer of light. Jess! The boy cries, panic hitting like a hammer. She spins back to him, heart hammering, but she's frozen as she registers the widening of his eyes, the shift of his weight. Close the door. Now! He screams. Her instincts kick in just as another huge shadow shifts behind the kid. Panic sends a jolt through her. She slams the door, locking it with trembling fingers. The boy presses himself against the counter, eyes darting wildly. What was that? He whispers. Jess's throat is dry, adrenaline flooding her veins. I don't know, she murmurs, but a creeping dread tells her it's only the beginning. Suddenly, the lights flicker again, louder this time, blaring like alarms. The power flickers, and her stomach drops as the shadows outside seem to ripple, shifting closer. The boy grabs her arm, his grip vice-like. We're trapped. That old voice echoes in her mind again, remember the rules. But as Jess stands, frozen in fear, she realizes with growing horror that she never truly understood what the stakes were. With urgency, she spins to face the boy, desperate for a plan. Do we run? She breathes. But before he can answer, the door shudders violently, a heavy thump echoing through the small space, followed by a low growl that rattles their bones. Get back! She shouts, adrenaline spiking as her instincts kick in. As the door slams against its frame for a third time, Jess knows this time, the rules she never wanted to acknowledge must be confronted. Was this the storm they'd been waiting for? Or was it only the beginning of something more horrifying? Before she can gather her thoughts, something grips the doorknob from the outside, cold and hard, and a voice calls out through the wood, you didn't follow the rules and now it's time to pay. What had she unleashed? Jess's heart races as the voice, rich with malice, sinks into her bones. The boy beside her trembles, eyes wide, terror painted across his face. It feels like the air itself has thickened, pressing down on them, choking out any scream. Who's there? Jess calls out, her voice wavering but stronger than she feels. She grips the bat tighter, knuckles white against the dark wood. Every instinct within her screams to flee. But where? The shadows outside push closer, encroaching like a tide. Let us in, the voice taunts, dripping with sinister satisfaction. You can't stay in there forever. A low chuckle follows, echoing in the silence, its sound like nails scraping against glass. Jess, the boy whispers, his voice breaking. What do we do? We need to find a way to defend ourselves. The words come out more confidently than she feels, but she forces herself to think. The bat won't hold against whatever dreadful thing is out there. Look for anything we can use. She instructs, her eyes darting around the cramped store. Canned goods could serve as projectiles. A fire extinguisher could create a barrier, or at least a distraction. I'm going to see if there's a back exit. Jess, no. He pleads, panic rising. His trembling hand reaches out, grasping for her. Do we really have to? Stay here. I'll be right back, she insists, her heart pounding with the weight of uncertainty. But before she can step away, another thunderous slam reverberates against the door, rattling the frame. "Did you hear that?" The boy cries out, eyes darting toward the door as though it could give up its secrets. "It's trying to get in." Her words burst forth, urgency spilling from her lips. Jess takes a deep breath, the chill of fear clawing at her throat. "Help me find something, please." If this thing gets in before she can finish, another blow comes, this time accompanied by a scraping sound, like claws raking against the wood. Jess flinches, eyes wide as she turns back to the boy, who has already turned pale, his lips pressed thin in horror. In that moment, she knows they can't stay paralyzed by fear. There are rules, and while she doesn't understand them yet, she realizes she must confront whatever terror lurks outside before it lays claim to them. "Grab the fire extinguisher," she grits out, her voice filled with thinly veiled dread as a light flicker casts the room in a haunted glow. "We need a weapon." The boy nods, his hands shaky as he fumbles with the extinguisher near the door. It's heavy, solid. Jess can feel a sense of resolve building between them. As he positions himself by the counter, she glances again at the door, which seems to pulse with a life of its own. The voice returns, mocking, smoother this time. "You can't hide forever, Jess. The rules apply to you and that little boy. You already broke one." Jess's stomach twists. What does that mean? She shouts, trying to find strength. "What are the rules?" The boy whispers, hope mingling with despair. "What rules? What do we do?" Jess's frustration bubbles to the surface. It feels like a cruel game, a twisted puzzle with no way out. Another concussion rattles the door. Each slam sends shockwaves of panic through the space. Shadows twist at the corners, sinister and sentient, the air thickening with menace. Suddenly, the lights flicker violently, plunging them into darkness for a heart-stopping moment, only to return in a fit as the ominous figure shifts again, closer now. "Time is running out," the voice whispers, chilling them to the core. "What do I do?" Jess glares at the door, resolve hardening around her. She knows they must fight back. "Don't give up, Jess," the boy whimpers. She nods, steeling herself. "Get ready," she breathes, pulse racing. "Whatever it is, we're facing it together." Just then, a sharp cracking sound echoes from the corner of the room. Jess spins, heart racing as she scans the space. What had she missed? A shattered window? A creeping sense of dread envelopes her. And then, a sinister voice escalates, filling the room with ghostly resonance. "You didn't read the instructions." In that moment, Jess realizes there might be more to the rules than she ever anticipated. All that she has feared could be nothing compared to the genuine horror waiting just outside those doors. What would it mean to break the unwritten codes of darkness? And what madness would ensue as they delve deeper into the shadows? The boy's hand trembles as he tightens his grip on the fire extinguisher, ready yet unsure of what comes next. The air feels different, charged, as if every breath they take could lead to a catastrophic mistake. Jess swallows hard, her mouth dry, heart thudding like a drum as she senses the terror curling at the edge of the darkness. "Did you hear it?" she whispers, voice barely more than a breath. The unsettling chuckle from outside has settled deep in her bones. Whatever was trying to get in didn't just want access, it wanted to play, to toy with them. "Yeah," the boy responds, eyes wide, scanning the room. It's like it knows us." Jess bites her lip, peering back at the door. "We can't let it in. We want to allow it to control us." Another series of slams rattles the air, the door shakes violently, the hinges screeching under pressure. A drop of sweat trickles down her back. Each reverberation is a countdown, each moment stretching thin until she fears it might snap. "Jess!" the boy pleads, his voice catching in his throat. "What if it gets through? What if we can't stop it?" Gathering her thoughts, she fights the creeping despair. "If it gets in, we have to outsmart it, she replies, stealing her voice. Panic is infectious, and she refuses to give in. Look around. Find anything we can use. Time feels warped, each second extending into an eternity. As Jess scans the store for weapons, a glint of metal catches her eye. A box cutter lies abandoned on the floor, inches from the counter. Her heart quickens. Over there. She shouts, pointing. The boy scrambles to grab it, his movements frantic. We're going to need everything we can find. Jess. What do you think it is? He asks breathlessly, staring at the door, dread lining his voice. If it wants in so badly, what's out there? I don't know, she admits, her eyes darting from the door to the edges of the store where shadows flit like phantoms. But it's definitely something worse than we imagined. Suddenly, an erratic noise erupts outside, a shattering sound, like glass breaking upon impact. Jess's heart leaps into her throat. It's coming through. In a panic, she lunges toward the door, catching sight of something shifting in the darkness. The figure outside has morphed, becoming clearer, a grotesque silhouette, its form almost human yet nightmarish. Her instinct is to retreat, but her resolve hardens. The rules were clear, facing it was their only option. Hold the extinguisher high. She commands. And keep that cutter ready. We'll make them regret ever trying to get in here. The boy nods, holding the extinguisher aloft like a shield. Her palms fester with sweat as she takes a cautious step forward, heart thrumming like an alarm. The thing outside chuckles again, sharp and freezing, and she feels herself tighten. Do you really think you can defy the rules? It mockingly taunts. Jess feels her stomach turn. What rules? She spits back, blood boiling. You think you can scare us? Bring it on. But suddenly, the ground shifts beneath them, and Jess realizes with a cold shock that the floor is starting to vibrate. The lights flicker again, then plunge them into darkness for an eternal moment. A pulse of terror surges, she gropes blindly until her fingers find the boy's hand, their connection the only tether to sanity. Then, the lights spark back on, and the monstrous figure rushes closer. The back of Jess's neck prickles as the cold breath of 1,000 whispers fills the room. You've broken the first rule, it hisses, eyes glinting with malice. And now, it's time for your reckoning. As panic swells, Jess feels the urge to scream or flee gnawing at her insides. What has she unwittingly unleashed? And what horrors do the remaining rules hold? In that moment, the boy pulls her attention. Jess! What's happening? His voice trembles with urgency, cutting through the stunning fear like a knife. I don't know. She cries back, but deep inside, she knows. They've only scratched the surface of this nightmare, and as the figure lunges forward, Jess steels herself for what's to come. The real battle against darkness has just begun. What other secrets are embedded in the shadows waiting to stake their claim? The monstrous figure lunges, and everything shifts into chaos. Jess and the boy instinctively backpedal, the fire extinguisher slipping from his grasp for just a second. That second feels like an eternity as Jess watches the creature's grotesque features sharpening, until its face fills her vision, a twisted mask of hunger and fury. Grab it! She screams, and the boy lunges for the extinguisher, the urgency igniting his desperate movements. They barely manage to catch his breath as the creature presses against the door, claws scraping like nails on a chalkboard. Its eyes shine with a corrupted light, focusing on them with a look of vulgar delight. Breathe! Jess whispers to herself, feeling her heart hammering painfully against her ribcage. We can do this. But the words taste like ashes. The boy grips the fire extinguisher again, uncertainty flashing across his face. What do we do? It's not just a freak, it's alive. It's hungry. Then let us give it something to chew on. Without thinking, Jess lunges forward, brandishing the box cutter she snatched up a moment earlier, its weight somehow anchoring her resolve. She feels a wild surge of adrenaline, aware only of the situation erupting around her. Keep it at bay while I unlock the door. She's shouting, but fear twists her voice. The boy looks hesitant but nods, retreating to the opposite side of the room, ready to strike. The creature pulls back momentarily, shrieking, a sound that pierces the quiet like a siren. It writhes, and their eyes meet, an exchange riddled with primal terror. Jess knows too well it's not a mere animal, it wears the hollow shell of something once human, now transformed into a tool of cruelty, echoing the darkest corners of the night. Slamming her body against the door, Jess fumbles with the lock, her breathing heavy and panicked. As she fidgets, she hears the boy's voice shaking but clear. Jess, it's getting through. Do something. Swiftly, she turns around, the creature inches away, its rancid breath prickling her skin. With sheer rage bursting forth, she lunges toward it, arms extended, and unleashes the weapon in her hands, spraying it in a cloud of white foam. The creature recoils, screeching again, but this time, it's a mixture of surprise and anger. Now, don't just stand there. Help me. The boy lunges forth, swinging the extinguisher with adrenaline-fueled fury while the monster twists and howls, now disoriented. Jess seizes the moment, not sparing a thought for the horror surrounding her. She rushes to the exit, her fingers trembling as she fumbles with the knob. But it won't budge. Desperation weaves through her thoughts. Memories of their mundane lives start to cycle like a beat: pizza after school, gossiping with friends, laughter echoing in crowded hallways. Now, it all feels like a fragile dream trapped in the nightmare clenching around them. The weight of their innocence teeters on the edge. Jess! The boy's voice shouts, snapping her back into focus as he swings wildly, making contact with the creature's shoulder. Keep hitting it. She screeches, feeling that prick of fear twist tighter. They fight against sweeping shadows that seem to coil around the room, trying to suffocate any shred of hope. Just as the creature teeters back, Jess finally manages to scream for help. Someone, anyone please. The lights flicker again, sputtering ominously. Then, without warning, they dim entirely, leaving Jess and the boy cocooned in darkness and dread. Jess, I can't see. He cries, panic rising. She fumbles for him, and they grip each other tightly, the only semblance of comfort in their shared despair. But before Jess can answer, a voice cuts through the darkness, smooth and chilling. Oh, but you've already summoned help. It wasn't the creature's voice. It was deeper, curling through the void, somehow familiar yet foreign. What? Who are you? Jess gasps, fear clawing at her insides. Second rule, the voice whispers. Never call for help unless you know who will answer. And then silence. The air is thick now, and as Jess feels the boy's grip loosen, nothing prepares her for the revelation that he's no longer by her side. What has she unleashed? What terrible price must she pay now that darkness has claimed part of her world like a twisted shadow? As the figures emerge from the blackness, Jess realizes this nightmare is just beginning, and all that awaits her is a reckoning darker than she could ever have imagined. Jess's heart pounded as she spun around, desperately searching for the boy, panic squeezing her chest like a vice. Where are you? She whimpered, the darkness swallowing her voice. The oppressive silence that followed felt suffocating, as if the shadows themselves were listening, waiting for her to break. The air felt heavier in the absence of the boy's presence, and with it, the dread crept deeper into her bones. She felt utterly exposed. Was the creature still there? Or had it been lured away by whatever sinister being waited just beyond reach? Jake? She whispered, each syllable trembling. No response. Just the hollow echo of her own voice ricocheting through the abandoned space. Lights flickered briefly, casting eerie patterns on the walls just enough to catch glimpses of grotesque shapes dancing in the corners. Something shifted. She squinted into the darkness, trying to make sense of the shadows, but it seemed like the very air around her was coiling tightly, almost alive. Suddenly, a low growl resonated from behind her, icy fingers of fear creeping back up her spine. The creature had not retreated, it was prowling, lurking, drawn to her vulnerability like moths to a flame. "Stay back!" Jess shouted fiercely, one arm raised defiantly, every ounce of instinct flaring to life. She had to choose now: fight or run. But how could she fight a thing that felt so much like a nightmare? She clenched the box cutter tighter, its cool metal biting into her palm, a reminder of her desperation. A crash echoed off to her left. The source of the sound surprised her. A display of sodas had toppled over, sending glass bottles shattering against the ground like thunder. In the fragmented silence that followed, she heard a soft whimper. Her heart dropped. Jake? A flicker of hope ignited inside her. Was he out there? Help! The word broke through her thoughts. It was distorted, like someone was trying to call for her from deep underwater. "Where are you?" she shouted, trying to hone in on the voice. "Just talk to me." A shape darted through the meager light, but it was too fast. Jess felt the air become charged with something terrible. The creature was moving, too, weaving through the darkness, its guttural breathing becoming increasingly frantic and excited. "Jess!" There was a cry from the shadows, unmistakably Jake's voice. Relief washed over her, but just as quickly, dread curled in her stomach. He sounded no longer like the boy she cared about but like a hunted animal. Each breath went cold in her chest as she followed the sound. She stepped through the wreckage of shattered glass, the crunch underfoot sending ripples of panic through her mind. "Hold on, I'm coming." "Don't!" he screamed, terror lacing his voice. It's not me. Don't come any closer." Jess hesitated, the weight of his words chilling her to the core. What was he saying? "What do you mean? Where are you?" I'm here," he sobbed, the sound curdling her stomach. She stumbled forward, the box cutter slipping in her grip as thoughts raced. What if whatever had him wasn't he just the creature? The lights blinked again, steadying this time, illuminating a part of the room. And there stood the boy, but it was not him. Not really. It was like a marionette, with hollow eyes reflecting nothing but despair, a twisted mockery of his image. No, no, no. Jess backed away, dread flooding her senses. "What do you want?" she demanded, panic crackling through her words. A smile broke across the boy's hauntingly distorted face, not his real smile, but one that sent chills racing down her spine. "You called for help. You know what happens next, don't you?" The weight of understanding crashed over her like a tidal wave. The voice from the shadows was right. She had unleashed something she couldn't control. A terror, but worse, it was tethered to someone she loved. Just as the darkness deepened, filling Jess with despair, she felt a surge of anger flare within her, fueled by the thought of losing everything. No! She clenched her fists, turning towards the false apparition. "You won't take him. I won't let you." As she stepped forward, confidence coursing through her veins, she knew one thing: if she was going to fight, it had to be now. But in the depths of the gloom, another voice joined the chorus. "Oh, dear child, this was just the beginning." The shadows stretched, darkening, and Jess realized with horror that this struggle wasn't just for Jake. It was for her very soul. What other shocking rules lay in store, and was the next step merely a descent into deeper darkness? "Stay back." Jess's voice rang out, fierce and desperate, but it felt swallowed by the nightmarish shadows. The creature that wore Jake's face frosted her resolve. She shook her head in disbelief, bouncing between the flickering light and the darkness that writhed around her. She felt the cold dread caking on her heart, the grotesque mimicry of her best friend's image making her stomach twist. Could that really be him? She wanted to scream Jake. But the name stuttered in her throat as reality clashed with her hope. The creature shifted, its twisted lips curling into a grin far too wide for any human, as if it fed off her fear. "You're too late," it crooned, each syllable dripping with malice. "He's already mine." "Shut up." She spat, feeling the terror transform into an ember of defiance. "You don't have him. You're nothing, just a shadow. You'll never win." For a moment, the creature faltered, surprise flickering across its hollow visage. Jess pressed on, sensing that she needed to strike against this darkness. "Jake! If you're in there, fight!" she shouted, her voice breaking now softer as tears threatened to spill. "I'm here. I won't leave you." The thing shuddered, and Jess could almost hear the ache of Jake's struggle beneath the surface. The boy's features twisted painfully as if he were trying to push past the veil that encased him. Jess pleased. The voice that echoed back was muffled, weak, and at once heartbreaking and fervent, dragging a wave of hope through her. Before she could respond, the creature lunged forward, the light catching its figure, grotesque and unnatural. Pure instinct kicked in, and Jess dodged just in time, feeling the rush of dread sweep past, the acrid scent of something rotten accompanying it. She ducked low, her heart hammering against her ribcage as she scrambled backward. "I want to let you have him," was all she could manage to say, the box cutter now held firmly in her hand, though her grip was shaky. With one thrust of adrenaline, she lunged at the creature, aiming for what she hoped might be its heart, if a shadow held one at all. But it twisted away, forcing her to lose her balance. The ground felt unsteady beneath her feet, and she barely caught herself before crashing into another pile of debris. "Jess!" Jake's voice was louder now, an echo of desperation cutting through the noise of the monster. I'm fighting." The creature recoiled, suddenly furious. "You meddle!" it hissed, and Jess took a moment to catch a glimpse of its true form beneath the illusion. Swathes of shadow coiled like smoke around it, and its eyes glowed with a ghastly fire. "You should be afraid. The rules you don't know, they bind you now." "No!" Jess shouted, shaking her head. "I want to play by your rules." "You're a lie." An eerie silence fell momentarily, followed by a dark howling from the walls of the abandoned space. The flickering lights dimmed again, and in that instant, the unsettling feeling intensified. She could sense the shadows closing in, wrapping around her like constricting vines, trying to pull her into the darkness. Suddenly, she remembered the stories. Her grandmother's warnings echoed in the back of her mind. "Walk the haunted roads, never take the path marked with despair, and the true self shall always battle against facades. Words can't hold me here," she cried, feeling something in her stir. "I want to be trapped by you or the lies you throw at me." But the boy's face, the eyes reaching for her across the expanse of the encroaching night. "Hold on, Jake," she called out, tears streaming. "Just one more chance." Just then, a sudden crash echoed behind her. Jess twirled around to see a massive shadow erratically unfurling, rushing at her with a speed that made her blood run cold. No! The primal instinct to survive kicked in. She had to move. She sprinted through the darkness, her heart racing with fear and a fierce will to protect. But in the back of her mind lingered the chilling words of the creature, the real danger lurking even closer than she realized. As she dashed through the twisted shadows, Jess wondered if she could genuinely save Jake, or would reaching for him only deepen her fall into the abyss. With the echoing growls reverberating all around, Jess inhaled deeply, ready to confront whatever awaited her beyond the dark. What did those rules mean, and what horrors would she uncover next in her quest to save both Jake and herself? Jess's legs burned as she tore through the darkness, every step a frantic dance with grace and panic. The growls echoed behind her, each one louder, a relentless reminder of the creature that hunted her, not just for her life, but for the essence of Jake that lay trapped within its shadows. The air was thick. Each breath felt like inhaling shards of ice, the weight of despair heavy on her chest. "What do you want from me?" she shouted back at the looming darkness, her voice tinged with desperation. It was more of a plea, a challenge. Whatever she was up against, it thrived on fear. She had to deny it that power. The shadows stretched like eager hands, their chilling tendrils wrapping around her ankles. Jess stumbled but regained her footing, her heart thumping furiously, drowning out any rational thought. She reached for the box cutter, its unfamiliar weight a cold comfort in her palm. "This isn't over," she called out, directing her fury at the creature. As she ran, glimpses of Jake flashed in her mind, his smile, his laughter, their late-night talks about everything and nothing. They were reminders of what was at stake, a fragile core of hope that ignited her defiance. With a sudden burst of dread, Jess swung into what appeared to be a room at the end of the hall, a musty old office cluttered with peeling papers and the remnants of forgotten lives. Ducking behind a decrepit desk, she pressed her back against the wall, breathing heavily. Silence engulfed her for a moment, the growls faded, replaced by a shifting tapestry of shadows just outside the door. "Jake, hold on," she whispered fiercely, closing her eyes. She focused on the warmth of their friendship, the bond that anchored her amidst the chaos. "I'm coming, I'm fighting for you. Jess?" The voice was weak, fragile, carrying an echo of the boy who had been her anchor. She held her breath, the sound urging her forward. "Jake!" she called, stepping out from her hiding spot, scanning the shadows as they swirled menacingly. "I'm here. Fight it. You have to fight." But the creature's hiss interrupted her. "He's freer than he's been, and you want to bring him back?" It slithered into view, a horrific mockery of her best friend's face. The eyes, once so familiar, glimmered with otherworldly fire. "You don't understand, he chose this. The power I grant him is more than your human bond can ever match." "No!" Jess yelled, hot anger surging through her. "You're lying. He wouldn't choose this." With a desperate surge, she lunged at the shadow, the box cutter aimed as a weapon not just for the creature, but for the chains holding Jake down in the depths of his despair. In that split second, a blinding flash of light erupted from the blade, illuminating the fearsome face of the creature before her. It screeched in agony and rage, the sound echoing, twisting the air around them into a chaotic swirl. "Words can't hold me here," Jess shouted again, feeling the surge of power building around her as she fought through the tendrils of darkness. She could see Jake's face again, confused and pained, but still there amidst the nightmare. "Jess! I want to fight. I can't do it alone." "Then don't. We'll fight together," Jess exclaimed. She reached for him with her free hand, desperate to connect, hoping to break through the veil that separated them, but just as her fingers brushed against his, the shadows surged violently, a storm of fury battling against her light. "You're foolish," the creature roared. "The rules bind you both now." Suddenly, the room shook, the floor trembling beneath her feet. A cacophony of whispers arose, twisted voices from the darkness threatening to pull her under. Each whisper was a fragment of fear, of doubt, of despair. They tore away at her resolve even as she held on to Jake's gaze, pleading for him to hold on. In that moment, a revelation cracked through the chaos. The rules, what were they? They were stronger together, but what did they bind her to? As the shadows closed in, darkening the flicker of light, Jess steeled her resolve. A truth lay dormant, just out of reach, and she could feel it. Begging to be uncovered, with every ounce of strength she could muster, she cried, "Tell me the rules. What do I need to know to save you?" But the answer seemed to dissolve into the darkness as the creature lunged again, and Jess braced herself for whatever would come next. What were the true rules of this nightmare? What darkness would she face if she dug deeper into their twisted game? The room vibrated with chaos, the creature's snarls reverberating off the walls as shadows snaked dangerously close. Jess's heart hammered in her chest. She couldn't lose Jake. Not now. Not ever. With every ounce of her strength, she launched herself at the entity, fueled by a desperate need to uncover the truth hidden in the rules that bound them. "Just tell me," she shouted again, her voice cutting through the clamor surrounding her. "What do I need to do?" For a moment, a glimmer of recognition flickered in the creature's twisted features. "The truth is your greatest weapon and your worst enemy," it hissed, voice slithering like smoke through the air. "But you must discover which rules expose you, and which rules will save you both." A low growl erupted from the depths of the creature as it lunged forward, and Jess deflected it with all her might, swinging the box cutter low, but the darkness was too agile, slipping back just in time. "No, Jess." Jake's voice pierced through her panic, raw with urgency. "Get out. You don't understand. It's playing with your fear." But deep down, Jess could feel the connection with Jake grow stronger. She could sense his determination fighting through the shadows. "If you want out, we fight together. I won't leave you." As the creature raged, Jess gripped Jake's false form, looking past the twisted visage. "You are more than this. Remember," she cried, deep conviction igniting affirmation deeper than any shadows. The creature shrieked, a sound that pierced through the fabric of the night. Jess could feel the boundaries binding them begin to tremble. Was she breaking the rules? Or was she finally embracing the truth behind them? Layer upon layer of dread began to peel away, and she could hear Jake's voice more clearly now, echoing through desperate, hopeful. "I'm here. Fight with me together." As Jess swung the box cutter again, this time aiming for the very essence of the creature, the light burst to life once more, the shadows recoiling in horror. The duality of fear and courage twisted around them like a tempest, feeding into the energy they both tapped. "Not just for yourself," Jess shouted into the mix. "For every inch of his memory, every triumph and laugh, for everything we've shared." The flickering light grew, enveloping them, illuminating the darkness that had once seemed insurmountable. The essence of Jake sparkled within the shadows, remnants of their laughter, their friendship, all the moments where they had sworn to fight the darkness together. The creature thrashed, its form not just changing but unraveling as the connection between Jess and Jake strengthened. "You think you can defy us?" it screeched, its power waning against the warmth that now surrounded them. With an empowered shout, Jess plunged the box cutter deep, aiming not for the creature itself but into the darkness sheltering it. "I don't fear you." The moment the blade sank into the shadow, realization struck. She understood, it wasn't just about confronting fear, but about illuminating the darkness within. Each rule they navigated had prepared them for this very moment. Light radiated through the air, erupting like a firework. The shadows swirled and screamed, dispersing into a fine mist, leaving only a faint trace behind. The room began to clear, not just of shadows but of the weight that had chained them in fear. Jess's heart burst with adrenaline. "Jake! Jess!" His voice was stronger now, piercing through the fading darkness. Reality returned, and she found him standing beside her, real and whole. They locked eyes, both trembling yet free. Relief washed over them as the shadows dissipated completely. They'd done it. It was over. "Thank you," Jake breathed, a smile breaking across his face, not marred by anything wicked. "I was scared I'd lose myself in there." "Not a chance," Jess replied, tears of joy glimmering in her eyes. "We fight together, remember?" Together, they stepped out into the light of dawn. The night felt distant, like a haunting dream escaping out of reality. As they stood in the parking lot, the world coming alive around them, Jess felt a new resolve settle deep within her. They had confronted darkness, broken rules, and emerged unscathed, a fierce unity forging their spirits anew. The gas station, once an emblem of terror, now felt different, a sanctuary where they had faced their fears and won. "We're free," Jake said, taking a deep breath of fresh morning air. "Yes," Jess smiled, a genuine brightness illuminating her features. "And we'll never forget the rules we forged together." And as they walked away, leaving behind the remnants of the night, they knew together, they could conquer anything that lay ahead. Remember, my friends, when fear whispers in your ear, always fight to embrace the light. Right now, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about what just happened. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe and be part of this journey. Only true fans understand how important it is to support the channel through these actions.